Everyone, it's Kirei here for Arden Creative Studio, and I'm super excited to be working with the fabulous new Laurel Grove collection by Pertiet. I'm also using some of the stencil and the stamp set from the collection. So I've pulled out 3 of the pattern papers. Oh, big highlight here, the premium cardstock is also brand new to Arden Creative Studio. It comes in packs of, it's 12 by 12 textured, and it comes in packs of 20 sheets. And there are loads of colours, honestly, and then they're like mixed colour packs. But they also do A4 packs as well in 20 sheets, and that's a smooth cardstock. So yeah, that's a fabulous new addition to the range. Okay, so I'm using the 12 by 12 paper pad, and I've pulled out 3 of the pattern papers. I've got this sort of plaid pattern, and it's in like an ochre yellow, an indigo, and it's got like a dusty corally pink colour, I would say. I've just gutted the centre to create a frame, and then I've trimmed down my white cardstock. I think I've trimmed that down to, I think it's 11. It is, it's 11 inches square. And then I've just distressed the edges, of course, and then stuck that down just to create that nice frame. Now, I've got my photos here, and I've got 8 photos again, using lots of little photos, as I really do like to use, because I just find it really tells that story. And, I've done quite a lot of things this year. It's my big birthday year. I was 60 in July. So, yeah, I've just done loads of fabulous things. And it's such a nice way of documenting something that you've done. If you've had a holiday, I mean, typically as a scrapbooker, I take loads and loads of photos, and you just don't. If I only scrap 1 or 2 photos on a layout, I'm really not capturing all the sorts of things we did. So yeah, I'm definitely finding using the smaller size photos works fabulous, and I love it. It just really helps me to sort of get my holiday or event or whatever it is really documented well. So yeah, anyway, these photos were of a very recent trip. They were from last month in August. We went to Madeira for 5 nights. Our friends go there quite a lot, and they'd invited us out. So we'd never been, and honestly, we had a fabulous time. It was so lovely. Honestly, we were really pleasantly surprised. It was, yeah, there was so much to do, and this was of Oz. We popped into one of the Madeiran wine, quite a famous one on the island, Blandies, in Funchal, and we popped in and had a look around, and we did do of course we had to, some Madeiran wine tasting, and it's lovely. So yeah, so I'm just wanting to get those photos scrapped. So I've got cut down the pattern papers I've got just into 3 strips, and I brought in the sort of ochre yellow, and then I've got that sort of dusty corally, it's slightly browny actually, pattern paper there, and just layering up some strips. And then now I'm pulling in pieces from the laser cuts. I've got the ephemera pieces here. And I'm just really playing around with my clusters around my photos. So that's definitely the thing I do first. I sort of place everything, have a play, take a photo, then I take everything off, and then I can, and then I can get it stuck down. But first, I decided to bring in, and I love a bit of stenciling. I don't do loads, but I like a little bit of subtle detail in the background, particularly when I'm using a nice white cardstock background. So this is the new stencil called Distressed Tiles, and I'm just using it with the Distressed Oxide in it's Faded Jeans. I could have gone with a slightly deeper blue, but I tend to keep my stenciling and background quite subtle, so I've just gone for the sort of softer blue, and then I'm bringing in one of the stamp sets. Now there are a number of stamp sets that are being launched as part of the collection, and this one here is called Letterbox Postmarks, and I'm just using a sort of script style stamp there. I'm just using it to add some detail around the top and the bottom of the layer, along with where I've actually stenciled. And then I'm just bringing in this smaller sort of postmark one as well. I'm just sort of stamping off a bit. You can't see it. I'm doing it to the side occasionally. But yeah, stamping off twice, so you get that, it softens the stamping a little bit more. So, I mean, typically when I do this, I do end up covering up quite a bit of it, but it is okay. That's okay. I'm quite happy with just having a little bit peeping out from, from the side of my layers. And then I'm just adding some splatters to those stamped and stenciled areas as well. And then I'm a bit impatient here because, I just want to keep going with the layout. So I just dry it off with some paper towel. And then I can get my strips stuck down, obviously bringing in my trusty T-square so I can get everything nice and straight. And then I will get the photo block stuck down. Now, typically, I just like to add some foam pads along the top and just to raise that top edge, but I will stick it flat at the bottom. Um, Mainly because at the bottom, I'm often adding my clusters slightly over the edge of the photo, where at the top, I'm often tucking them in. So, yeah. Okay, and then I'm just sort of lifting up the edges here. They are all distressed, those paper edges and the mount around my photos. They're all distressed, but I just like to lift it up as well, just to get a bit more dimension. Now, I picked out, as I say, obviously had a bit of a play with these elements. So I'm just going back in now, getting it, now that I've stuck the background down, I can get this in. And then this is where I looked and realized I really was covering up quite a lot. So I've just gone in and I'm just adding a little bit more stenciling, which is really easy to do. So, yeah. So just layering up the pieces here, and then I can start to get things stuck down. So, and I'm again bringing back in some more stenciling just around that bottom here, because it's such a small stencil in regards to the detail. It was just really easy just to add a little bit more, and it's quite, as I say, quite soft and subtle. Yes, I'm bringing in those, I love the laser cuts. I have to say, the laser cuts are really, really beautiful. I mean, the detail and in the laser cuts are lovely. So yeah, it is really nice to add them. You can just see I'm adding those flowers around to the right there. There's the flowers at the bottom, and I'm adding the flowers to the top. So I've sort of gone again. I'm bringing out the yellows. I'm trying to make sure my clusters are balanced as well, so that I've got the yellow, that sort of dusty corally pink, and then in each of the cluster groups. And then I've got some leaves here, just getting those tucked in underneath. And then I will layer up some of these pieces, and I'm adding some foam tape to the back of some of the pieces of ephemera, again, just to get the raise them up and get that dimension. And then typically when I stick anything down, I say flat, it's not flat for me. I'll always like curve the edges, or whether it's leaves or anything like that. I will always try and do that. As you can see, that's what I'm doing there, because I'm not going to stick it down completely flat. And I will just add glue like to the center or along one edge, so that again, you can see I get that sort of layered dimension and, texture. Okay, so I'm adding, chopped off the leaves of that top yellow flower, and then I'm just tucking them in there because I was going to lose them behind. So yeah, right, so I think I've got everything stuck. Well, most things are stuck down now in the clusters. I'm just tucking in these word phrases. So I've got "this is awesome" all together, and at the top I've got "remember this," and they are all raised on foam pads as well. I'm bringing in enamel dots. I do love enamel dots. I do like adding a few little small elements to my layouts. And I'm just bringing in the 3 colours here in a little trio. I'm nearly forgetting I haven't got my butterfly on there. There we go. I'm going to get that stuck down now. Now, I did have another butterfly, and I've obviously dropped it and completely forgotten about it, because there was another small one in that sort of corally pink colour. And yeah, that didn't end up on the layout. So yeah, but that's okay. Yeah, so just another little cluster of 3 over to the right, and then I fiddle around at the top here. Oh, I should say, at the bottom, I used a tag, and I was sorry about my head in the video there. I used the tag in the bottom cluster there and tucked it underneath. But because I wanted to tuck it underneath, I trimmed off the top of the tag, and then I tucked the top of the tag into that top cluster there that you'll see. What I didn't do at the time, I never have a naked tag. I always like to have something through my tag. And I do go back actually and add some embroidery thread through the top tag there. My title, I've used experience from the ephemera, and I've just raised that up on foam pads. And then I've brought in the rub-ons, and I'm just using this yellow one here. It's like a splat, and I've just cut it in half, and I'm just going to get part of it under the bottom here, and then I'll add the other part to the top of the cluster there. So yeah, these ones go on lovely. They just, yeah, really just go on like butter, nice and easy. And again, I love the added dimension you get from, you've got your white cardstock, you've got your stamping, your stenciling, your rub-ons, then your layered ephemera, and yeah, it just, yeah, love how it looks when you build all of that up into a layout. And then I'm almost done. Actually, I've obviously got my journaling to do, which I always do off camera because I have to think about it, and I usually have to check the date because I always like to make sure I get my date onto my layouts. But yeah, I've really, really loved working with this fabulous new collection. The colours are brilliant, and yeah, here is the final layout, and here are some of the close-ups. So I hope you've enjoyed watching the video and get some inspiration for creating with Laurel Grove by Arden Creative Studio. Thanks so much for watching. See you again soon. Bye for now.